Welcome. This is the second part of exploratory factor analysis in SPSS. So we have already run the analysis and our variable is PTES and there are 4 constructs and 20 question items under PTES. So this is how it has been loaded, and this is the output what we have received. KMO is not significant and Bartlett test is significant, so that we can proceed with meaningful EFA. First we will be looking at communities. It indicates the extent to which an item correlates with all other items. However, we have to refer extraction column and higher communities are better. In this case, we have noted that this one is PTS 15 is having only 0.169. At the latter part, we may need to remove this one. Next thing we have to focus is factor structure. Now we will be referring to pattern matrix straight away. Here we can decide convergent and discriminant validity issues. In order to ascertain convergent validity, high loadings should be there within the factors. For an example, under factor 1, we are noticing most of the higher loadings other than this one, and there should not be cross loadings in order to establish discriminant validity. So here in some spaces we do not see any figures. That is because when we are generating the EFA, we have requested to suppress figures below 0.4, and there are some figures above 1. That is because we have used oblique rotation method. Next thing what we are discussing is convergent validity, meaning whether variables within a single factor are highly correlated. As we have shown earlier, under factor 1, most of the loadings are above 0.5 and some are even 0.9. So as a rule of thumb, regardless of sample size, it is best to have loadings greater than 0.5 and average of those to be greater than 0.7 for each factor. This is a simple guide to ascertain factor loading as against sample size. Next thing is discriminant validity. In order to establish that one, we can have 2 methods. First thing, refer the pattern matrix. There should not be any cross loadings. If those are there, values should differ by more than 0.2. Second method is to refer correlation between factors. Here it should not exceed 0.7. In this case, factor 3 with 1 and 2 and 4 having values above 0.7, meaning shared variance is more than 49%. So we need to check at question items under factor 3. Next thing, face validity. It indicates variables that are similar in nature loading together on same factor. As we said earlier, we can see under factor 1, as we expected, PTS 1 to PTS 6, which comes as one construct. As we expected, those 1 to 6 items have been loaded into factor 1. That's what face validity means. Next thing is reliability. For that, we'll be using Cronbach alpha figures to determine consistency of item level things. So we have 20 items and we have got Cronbach alpha value 0.97, that is good. However, as we mentioned earlier, in community table we have identified problematic ones, and pattern metrics also we have identified some problematic issues. Next, at factor correlation metrics we have identified that factor 3 is problematic and we need to examine those items. And now once we requested for reliability analysis, we have obtained correlation metrics. Here you can see at the bottom, for the items such as 18 to 20, there are some figures above 0.999. So those things we need to address. So one by one we need to remove these question items under PTES and run the analysis over and over again, and we have to determine what items to be retained and what are to be excluded from the final analysis. So we have determined to keep only, after analyzing several times, we are determined to keep PTS item 1 to 6 and 10, 16 and 17 items. So now with that we have reduced 20 items of PTS to only 9 items. So we will be going back to SPSS, and now we are running the analysis again. Analyze, dimension reduction, factor. Now we will be selecting only the items that we decided to keep, that is 1 to 6. Next 10, 16, 17. So 9 items, and we are not going to change anything. We will be keeping those things as it is. Initial, reproduce table, KMO, Bartlett. Extraction, we are selecting maximum likelihood and these two, and we are calling for 4 factors to be extracted. Next, rotation, that is Promax, and scores, leave it as it is. Next thing, options. We are suppressing small coefficient that are below 0.4. Then press OK. Now we will be getting the output. Here we will be referring KMO and Bartlett. This one is not significant and this is significant, so we can proceed. Now the communities have been improved above almost 0.7, and here total variance by these 4 factors above 83%. Next thing, report, we have, it indicates nearly 3, however we have called for 4 factors. Then we will be taking 4 factors. Factor matrix, it is there, and reproduce correlations at the bottom. This percentage is below 50%, that's good, and here it is 0. And pattern matrix, now we have refined pattern matrix, and we can see that stronger loadings, higher values under 1 and 2, 3, 4, all these 4 factors, and there are no cross loadings, and we have suppressed figures below 0.4. So above 1 factors are because we have selected oblique rotation, And now the factor correlation matrix here under factor 3 there were previous issues. However, now we do not see such an issue. Only for 2 factors now it has been reduced. So now this is okay. Now we have already identified that as per pattern matrix. Now we can establish convergent validity with high loadings, and there are no cross loadings, and it indicates discriminant validity also. So we can proceed with finally alpha. So go to analyze, scale, reliability analysis. Now we are giving only the selected figures, that is selected question items 1 to 6 together with the rest of the 3 items 10, 16 and 17. Now we can call for either correlation, we can call, otherwise leave it as it is, or else keep it. Now we can select model as alpha and press OK, and now you will be getting reliability, and there are only 9 items and alpha value is above 0.9, that is very much okay. And now we do not see any higher correlation between these items. Previously there were. So with that we will be concluding today's exploratory factor analysis, and initially once you run you will be getting a messy EFA. However, you can refine it by referring to communities, pattern metrics and factor correlation metrics, as well as Cronbach alphas correlation metrics in order to determine higher correlations that are above 0.9 or very much lower correlations, so that you can remove those problematic question items one by one, and you can run this again and again, and you can come to the final items particular to that variable. Here we have now a certain 9 items under PTEs. So we will be concluding today's session. Thanks for watching.